Good afternoon and a happy new year to you. There's plenty of time for scorelines to change in the first football matches of 2008. For the clubs in action today, it's their fourth game in 11 days. Gavin, Peacock, Mark Bright and Garth Crooks are keeping a close eye on the Barclays Premier League games underway. Fulham 1, Chelsea 2 as a result. More details to come. News first on another London derby. Premier League leaders Arsenal playing West Ham. Mark Bishop's at the Emirates.
Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0. Slick, wonderful passing football. It must be Arsenal. They've given West Ham a real lesson this afternoon. Eduardo's close-range effort after just 2 minutes upset the rhythm of West Ham. Still the only side, remember, to have won here at the Emirates. Eddie Boyor scored a wonder goal to make it 2-0 from the acutest of angles. How did he do it? You can watch it on Match of the Day tonight. Clichy off the line for Arsenal, of course, denying Ferdinand. Freddie Ljungberg's effort well saved by Almunia before the ex-gunner limped off with a hamstring injury. But Arsenal are coasting. They lead 2-0.
The league leaders ahead, losing on Saturday, a shock to the system. For second place, Manchester United. Damien Johnson's watching the defending Premier League champions play Birmingham.
They lead 1-0 here. It's been all United as they look to return to winning ways. Carlos Tevez put them ahead in the first half after combining brilliantly with Ronaldo, who's playing as a central striker today, that in the absence of Wayne Rooney. Both Tevez and Ji-sung Park have hit the woodwork. Birmingham have threatened only on occasions. Their best chance to Gary McSheffrey in the first half. He missed when well placed. Ronaldo could have made it safe when his header was saved at the near post by Mike Taylor. Saha's on for Tevez as the champions look to put the game to bed.
It's a Teesside now where 14th place Middlesbrough are playing 6th place Everton. Steve Sutton reporting.
That's right, Middlesbrough 0, Everton 2. A dull game until just after the hour when Everton decided to start playing football. They burst into life. Andy Johnson got the first goal, spinning his man on the edge of the box and finishing with a firm shot by Mark Schwarzer. Then just 3 or 4 minutes later, Andy Johnson again bursting into the box. He laid it off for James McFadden, and McFadden easily made it 2-0 Everton.
In League Two, Rotherham have avoided defeat 13 in 14 games. Macclesfield are on an awful run, 3 points out of 21, no win in 7. Mark Hudson giving Rotherham the lead with 20 minutes to go. Conceding 6 goals at Spurs on Saturday, no fun for Reading, and their opponents today, Portsmouth, far from happy after taking 1 point from the last 12. David Garrido reporting.
Reading 0, Portsmouth 2. Ray, nightmare start for the home side. Ibrahima Sonko sent off after bringing down Ben Jani in the box. Nico Cranchar striking the penalty against the post, but Pompey went ahead shortly after anyway. Sol Campbell poking the ball over the line after a fumble from Marcus Hanneman. Portsmouth did have chances to double that lead before the break, notably Ben Jani heading against the bar, but they did so duly after it anyway. Johnny Tucker with a lightning quick pace to beat Nicky Shorey round Hanneman and tap into an empty net. Pompey's impressive form on the road looks set to continue. They're on course for a 7th away league win victory in 8. Reading 0, Portsmouth 2.
More details now on the Fulham-Chelsea game that finished 2 hours ago. Andrew James watched the match.
Fulham 1, Chelsea 2. Roy Hodgson's return to English football, a harsh lesson in the realities of life in the Premier League. For almost an hour, Fulham's Danny Murphy dictated play, and his penalty after Volts was tripped by Joe Cole gave Hodgson's men a well-deserved half-time lead against a poor Chelsea side, again without key players. But the second half was a different story, and Chelsea set their stall out with an equalising goal from Solomon Kalou. Minutes later, Ballack scored from the spot after having his shirt tugged by Dempsey. Fulham did enough to suggest they could survive under Roy Hodgson. Chelsea were as indifferent today as they were against Newcastle on Saturday, but they won both games, and their title challenge goes on with only half a squad to pick from.
Chelsea still in touch, still in the title race, do you feel?
Well, yeah, they're hanging in, but I think realistically most people would say it's a 2-horse race. They grounded out today in the absence of Drogba. Lampard as well, don't forget, he's out for a while with a thigh strain. And I thought that it was important that both the goal scorers were the goal scorers, if you like. Carlu, because he's going to get a little bit of a run when Drogba's away in the African Cup of Nations. And Ballack, a big player, a talented player, and someone who could drive them on.
Mark, has it been pretty comfortable for Arsenal this afternoon?
Yeah, it has. I mean, they've played some sensational football. You know, Eduardo scores a fantastic goal. I mean, it takes it down on his chest and a volley inside the 18-yard box. And then Adebayor's added the second. And for West Ham, they're just chasing. They can't seem to get a foothold in the game. And unfortunately for Freddie Ljungberg, on his return to the Emirates, he's come off with a hamstring injury.
Manchester United, they're in charge of the match, but when it's only 1-0, you can never be certain you're going to take the points.
Well, United have played with the usual panache. Ronaldo's been menacing. Tevez has been just all over the place. But I think what's been really interesting is Birmingham have defended like tigers. Jerome has run his socks off for the best part of an hour. McClishy's taken him off and brought on Fussell. And we've been sitting here, and I'm sure if they'd have played Fussell and Jerome and persevered, because Birmingham are throwing everything at United, they just might have come up with something. They've still got a chance, but I think it's such a shame they're not playing with two up front.
Aston Villa versus Tottenham is a 5:20 kick-off tomorrow. Blackburn versus Sunderland, Bolton play Derby, Liverpool play Wigan, Newcastle at home to Manchester City. And no football in Scotland today. There's a fixture list of games set for tomorrow, but they'll be played under a cloud, given the tragic death of Phil O'Donnell. Motherwell's game at Hibs has been postponed, as has the Gretna-St Mirren match. Gretna are using Motherwell's Fir Park Stadium to play their home games this season, and tributes to the Motherwell skipper are still arriving at Fir Park. Tomorrow's Old Firm game has also been postponed, given that Phil O'Donnell played for Celtic. All Scottish clubs playing tomorrow are expected to honour the memory of the Motherwell captain. That happened today in the Barclays Premier League games. At lunchtime, ahead of the Fulham-Chelsea match, the players and the supporters gave a minute's applause in memory of the Motherwell skipper. And that happened elsewhere. At Old Trafford, before the Manchester United-Birmingham game, there was also some applause. And there was silence at the Emirates for the Arsenal-West Ham game. Football fans are paying their respects, and football players and officials paying their respects to Phil O'Donnell. In the Coca-Cola Championship, an early kick-off in the match at Ninian Park between Cardiff and Plymouth. 1-0 was the final score. Championship leaders West Bromwich Albion playing away at Ipswich. Ipswich unbeaten at home so far this season. Neil Henderson reporting.
Yes, they're going for 17 unbeaten with around 13 minutes to go. David Wright with his second goal of the season, a glancing header at the far post, and it really was against the run of play. Kevin Phillips has had a very good second half for West Brom, but Tony Mowbray won't be delighted coming back here and losing the game. It was 4-0 earlier in the season for West Brom in the reverse fixture, and Ipswich, if they can hold on, it's a vital 3 points at Portman Road. 1-0.
Well, that's going to change things around. News on Watford, who ended 2007 with a slump in form. Only 2 wins in 10. Second place Watford away at Southampton. Andy Barwell watching the match.
But it's an emphatic 3-0 advantage for Watford this afternoon. They snatched the advantage late on in the first half through Damien Francis. Southampton have been really stretched in the second period as they tried to get back into the match. It's just gone badly wrong, though, for George Burley's side. Marlon King added a second for the visitors, scoring from a free kick just outside the box. And strike partner Darius Henderson added a third, scoring through the Southampton keeper's legs. It's 3-0 to Watford.
In League Two, third bottom Lincoln have scored a vital goal 11 minutes from time, it appears. Playing Bury, who have had an awful time of late. Lincoln have third bottom, lost the last 3. Bury have lost 6 in a row. That would be a vital 3 points for Lincoln City. Looks like 3 teams are going to be on 47 points at the top of the Championship. West Bromwich Albion, Watford and Bristol City. Bristol City playing Coventry City. Hamish Marshall.
2-1 in front, and they're on course for a 6th win in 8 games, but it's tougher really than it ought to be. Darren Byfield put them on their way early on, but it wasn't until midway through the second half that their domination was rewarded with a second. That saw Marvin Elliott head his 5th goal of the season, but Dali Adibola, who should earlier have levelled when it was 1-0, got a goal back, setting up a more exciting last 15 minutes than I think we may have expected. Bristol City 2, Coventry 1.
Stoke charged into 2008, unbeaten in 9, 4th in the table, also in good form. Opponents Hull City, 10 points from 12. Ivan Gaskell.
Stoke 1, Hull 1. Hull the more impressive in front of almost 16,000 here, yet they went behind from Stoke's first serious effort. More than half an hour in, Stoke's overused, unattractive long throw tactic from Rory Delap did pay off. Leon Court's glancing header past an otherwise impressive Boaz Myhill. Veteran striker Dean Windass might have scored a hat-trick here, but he hasn't. Instead, his cross fed Folan for a deserved Hull equaliser on the hour, and they're pushing for a winner with 9 minutes left, 1-1.
Next stop is the Valley. Tony Lockwood is watching promotion chasing Charlton play bottom of the table Colchester. This could be a terrific result for Colchester.
Yes, Ray, it could be a big win. Charlton 1, Colchester 2, 10 minutes left. Kevin Lisby, who spent 11 seasons at the Valley, putting one over his old employers with a 2-goal contribution. The first a penalty, the second a stunning overhead kick, perfectly executed. Substitute Luke Varney for Charlton pulled one back, bundling home a reply in first half stoppage time, but Alan Pardew's side have been less than convincing. Charlton 1, Colchester 2.
Third bottom, Bournemouth have equalised with 11 minutes to go away at Brighton. Brighton 2, Bournemouth 2. Back to the Championship, 3 wins over Christmas for Crystal Palace. Overall, 12 games unbeaten. That was the situation ahead of today's game with Norwich. Andy May.
1-1 here at Selhurst Park, Ray. Clinton Morrison is now Crystal Palace's all-time joint leading goal scorer after his early second-half equaliser. A gliding header from a free kick is goal number 108. He's level with Doogie Freedman, who's on the bench this afternoon. Norwich are not looking content with the point here, but Palace are solid at the back. They're winning pretty much everything in the air. Darryl Russell scored for Glenn Roeder's side early on in the first half. Dion Dublin set it up. He's looking tired, though, the 37-year-old. He's still on the pitch. So is Darren Huckabee off the bench. Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 1.
Norwich not lost in 6 on a good run. Wolves and Sheffield United will both expect to be in the playoffs come the end of the season. Steve Lees at Molineux.
Yeah, still Wolves 0, Sheffield United 0. I don't know about player fatigue over Christmas. I think a few spectators might have fatigue watching this. It's been an absolute stinker. Wolves now throwing the kitchen sink at the Sheffield United defence. They've brought on Freddie Eastwood, who hasn't scored since August the 25th in their desperation to get a goal. Jay Bothroyd's missed their best chance. He really should have scored, but Paddy Kenny saved. And Rob House, well, he gave a lesson in how not to score at the other end. He shot wide, 0-0.
Sheffield Wednesday and Preston hoping the new year sees a change in fortune. Third bottom versus second bottom when the game kicked off. James Mason.
Yes, Ray, and you join me just as a crucial goal goes in for teams at the foot of the Championship. You may be able to tell from the cheers, it's Sheffield Wednesday that have taken the lead through Francis Jeffers from the penalty spot. A really crucial goal. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Preston North End 1.
Morecambe pulled a goal back with 10 minutes to go away at Stockport. Morecambe 100% record over Christmas. Stockport 2, Morecambe 1. Not that far between Scunthorpe and Barnsley, is there? Scunthorpe point above the relegation places when the game kicked off. Natalie Jackson.
Scunthorpe United 2, Barnsley 1. Great game here, Ray. Barnsley really coming back into this game. Grant McCann was the goal scorer for the Tykes. He took a free kick on the edge of the box. It hit the wall and rebounded back to him, and he hit a screamer into the back of the net. Jamal Campbell-Rice has also forced a great save from the Scunthorpe goalkeeper, Joe Murphy. Scunthorpe haven't won here since September. They're ahead at the moment. Can they hang on? Scunthorpe United 2, Barnsley 1.
Early kick-offs in League One today. Swansea were the League One leaders. The game away at Swindon kicked off at 1 o'clock. John Hardy reporting.
A dramatic ending to a match that was spoilt by a 19th minute sending off of Barry Corr, referee Paul Mellon's 8th dismissal of the season. He also had a vital contribution to the result, awarding a last-minute penalty converted by Simon Cox, who gave 10-man Swindon a deserved point. Roberto Martinez made 3 changes from the win against Leeds. He also changed the formation to 4-4-2, and Swansea stuttered without their influential midfielder Ferry Boda, creating very few chances despite all their possession. Swindon, though, defended superbly after Corr's mysterious dismissal and held out until just 4 minutes from time when Thomas Butler gave Swansea the lead from close range. But Swindon were far from beaten. They hit the post. Andy Robinson struck their bar as they pushed forward, but they did get their luck with a penalty decision, and Cox kept his cool for the draw. Swansea 1, Swindon 1.
Carlisle played and won and moved second, but let's hear about Nottingham Forest game with Huddersfield. Nigel Bidmead at the City Ground.
1-1, but Forest going for an unlikely win. They went behind and had a man sent off 10 minutes before the break when fullback Kelvin Wilson was adjudged to have blocked off Malvin Kamara. Wilson saw red. Phil Jevons put Huddersfield ahead from the spot. Forest have lived dangerously before they equalised when substitute Chris Cohen cut in from the right and scored with a deflected shot that looped over the goalkeeper. 1-1.
Leeds' 16-game unbeaten record at Ellen Road is going to go, it appears. Ipswich against West Bromwich Albion in the Championship. Albion the leaders. Neil Henderson.
Yes, an Ipswich home record will go to 17 unbeaten if the scoreline stays the same. It's 2-0 now to Ipswich. It was Jason DeVos with a header from Williams' free kick at the far post. Almost a repeat of David Wright's earlier goal. A 5-minute killer spell here at Portman Road, and it's West Brom who look like going away with a defeat. 2-0.
Vital 3 points for Ipswich. In League 2, MK Dons cushion on an automatic promotion places into double figures. They're playing second bottom Mansfield. Robin Bailey.
Yes, the Dons one up, cruising to victory after Keith Andrews' precise free kick from 20 yards gave them the lead. In Lloyd, they have destructive wingers, although the finishing touch hasn't been there today. Relegation threatened Mansfield have done OK. They might have scored themselves in the first half, and they've lost both strikers to injury. Mickey Boulding off on 15 minutes, 32 minutes on the clock, and his replacement, John McAliskey, off injured too. The Dons look like making it 10 points in 12 at Christmas.
The Dons had an 11-point cushion on an automatic promotion place. They're really running away from things. 3 points separated second to 8th ahead of today's games in League 1. Leeds in that group. Laurie Madden's at Elland Road. It's not going well for them now.
No, it's not. It looks like they're going to head for the defeat. All the damage was done in the first half when they conceded 3 goals. Ruben Hazel's volley, then Neil Trotman headed home from a corner, and then an own goal from Andrew Hughes. It looked as if Leeds might come back into it just after half-time. Substitute Liam Constantine came in and reduced the arrears with a simple tap-in. They've had a goal disallowed through Trezor Candle, and Jermaine Beckford has volleyed high, but at the moment it's still Leeds 1, Oldham 3.
Not sure. Walsall and Doncaster both in the leading group. Anyone that gets a winner in this match, it'll really make things change things around at the top half of the table. Gareth Williams.
Walsall 1, Doncaster 1. Rovers took the lead a minute into injury time. Gareth Roberts delivered the ball into the box. James Hayter shot at goal. Walsall goalkeeper Clayton Ince powered the ball out, but it came to the feet of Jason Price to fire home. The equaliser came on 74 minutes. Walsall won a corner on the right. Daniel Fox's delivery into the box was met by centre-back Scott Dan, who headed home. We've got 3 minutes to go. It's Walsall 1, Doncaster Rovers 1.
Details of an early kick-off in the Championship. A 1 o'clock kick-off between Cardiff and Plymouth. Ian Gwyn Hughes.
Cardiff City's improvement in recent weeks has gone relatively unnoticed. The improvement continued this afternoon. A hard-working, efficient performance from Dave Jones's side and a win they just about deserved. Sylvan Ebanks-Blake and Jermaine Easter of Argyle were given a little service. Whatever opportunity came their way, Kasper Schmeichel, on his final appearance on loan for City, excelled. Man of the moment, Joe Ledley scored the only goal just before the half-hour mark, taking advantage of a Romain Larios parry from Tony Capaldi's shot. Plymouth had plenty of possession in the second half, but lacked the cutting edge, and Steve McLean, on as a substitute, should have wrapped it up even further for Cardiff. But an excellent holiday period for Dave Jones's team. Cardiff City 1, Plymouth Argyle 0.
Plymouth's appearance in the playoffs now under threat. Still time for scorelines to change. Let's get back to Old Trafford. Damien Johnson.
Couple of minutes remaining here, Ray. Manchester United still lead by a goal to nil. You're right to pick up on the fact the game isn't safe, because Birmingham have threatened on occasions. Mikel Forsell is on as a second half substitute. He's full of running. He's had a couple of chances and fired narrowly wide, the second of which other players were better placed than him and he perhaps should have passed. But United still 1-0 ahead. They have most of the play. They've had most of the 90 minutes. They lead 1-0.
West Ham are the only team to win a Premier League game at the Emirates. Not today, though. Mark Bishop.
It's not going to happen, Ray. Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0. The final whistle can't come soon enough for the Hammers. Eduardo's close-range effort after just 2 minutes, and an incredible wonder goal from Eddie Bayor basically killed the game off by half-time. Arsenal, I've just watched them, 21 passes across the width of the pitch, 60,000 crowd boggling in disbelief. West Ham chasing shadows. Ferdinand and ex-gunner Freddie Ljungberg have both gone close, but Toure, Flamini and Eddie Bayor really turning on the style inside the penalty area. 3 minutes to go. Arsenal 2, West Ham 0.
Be 2 defeats in 17 for Everton, and those defeats, Arsenal and Manchester United. For Middlesbrough, their home form is really letting them down. Steve Sutton.
Yes, Ray, 3 minutes of added on time to come. It's Middlesbrough 0, Everton 2. A slumbering game this until the 67th minute when it burst into life. Andy Johnson got Everton's first, and then 5 minutes later James McFadden added the second. And if you watch Match of the Day tonight, you'll see a poignant goal celebration from McFadden. He made the point of pointing to the black armband on his arm in memory of Phil O'Donnell, the Motherwell skipper who tragically died a few days ago. And if you remember, McFadden signed for Everton from Motherwell.
Well played, James McFadden. Reading against Portsmouth, David Garrido.
Still Reading 2. Reading 0, Portsmouth 2, I should say. The game really losing its energy since Johnny Tarker's goal to make it 2-0 to Pompey. Sol Campbell with the opener. They had this period of pressure, didn't they, at the start of the second half. But that second goal, as I say, really taking the wind out of their sails even more. Stephen Hunt misconnecting with a half volley at the far post has been Reading's best chance. David James with practically nothing to do. Pompey are going home with the points. Reading 0, Portsmouth 2.
A late goal in the Nottingham Forest-Huddersfield match. Which way's it gone, Nigel Bidmead?
And it's gone to Nottingham Forest. Lewis McGugan with his 4th goal of the season, all his own work. The ball came to him in the area. He flicked it up and crashed it into the top corner. Forest 2, Huddersfield 1.
Nottingham Forest going second in the table. Very impressed with James McFadden's gesture about Phil O'Donnell.
Yeah, absolutely. Poignant it was too, and I think everybody respected it. I mean, he just pointed to the black armband very respectfully, and I think it's an indication of how he and the pros feel.
What's been jumping off the screen for you so far this afternoon, Gavin, as far as the football's concerned?
Well, I mean, Arsenal's superb football, of course. We say that every week, it seems. The Manchester United game's intriguing because Birmingham have, I think Brighty mentioned that, they've created opportunities without sometimes being clear-cut chances. A shot, an opening where you think, can they take them? And if you look at the statistics of shots in this game, Manchester United, I think, have had something like 12. Birmingham have had 10. Not too much difference, just United have got 9 on target, Birmingham only 3. And therein lies the difference, really.
There's no sting in the tail here, is there, for Birmingham to go down the other end and score?
There's 4 minutes been added on, and there was groans all around Old Trafford, because I think they know that they're still in with a chance. Birmingham had a corner just a couple of minutes ago, and, you know, they've been under pressure. I think De Riddler's come on the left-hand side, and for me, sort of ignited the way that Birmingham are playing. But the disappointment was he took Jerome off and put Forsell on. I would rather him keep the pair of the strikers on and have a go for it.
He might have got something out of the game if they'd have done that, but it's been a really spirited performance by Birmingham, really has.
Full-time whistle starting to go. An important game in the Championship. Stoke 1, Hull 1. Both teams featuring in the promotion race. Rotherham have beaten Macclesfield by 3-0. Hitchin have beaten Cheshunt by 3-1. Let's hear about the MK Dons, the League 2 leaders at home to Mansfield. Robin Bailey.
Yes, the MK Dons seemingly heading for top. Goal decisive. He was hugely impressive in midfield, as was Colin Cameron, and wingers Dyer and Wright also, who used the Stadium MK pitch to the full. Mansfield lost their 15-goal striker Mickey Balding to injury after only 15 minutes, never recovered, not quite good enough. A relegation fight for them. The Dons go on.
Middlesbrough kicked off only 4 points above the relegation places, and they've been beaten by Everton. Steve Sutton.
Yes, it's finished Middlesbrough 0, Everton 2, Ray. An instantly forgettable first half, and really only 5 minutes of memorable football in the second. On 67 minutes, Andy Johnson burst into the Middlesbrough box and finished past Mark Schwarzer to make it 1-0, and then 5 minutes later it was Johnson again running into the Middlesbrough box. He laid the ball off to James McFadden, and he added the second. This match began with a minute's silence in respect of Motherwell's Phil O'Donnell, which spontaneously broke into applause, and it ended with James McFadden's goal celebration poignantly pointing to his black armband. Middlesbrough 0, Everton 2.
First win in 7 for Bradford away at Accrington Stanley. Peterborough have beaten Shrewsbury by 2-1. Ivan Gaskell watched the Stoke-Hull game in the Championship.
Yes, Stoke 1, Hull City 1. Stoke unbeaten in December, yes, but unimpressive here. They may be pushing for promotion, but the natives here expressed restlessness with a round of boos at the end. Hull, with just 2 defeats in 12 now, always looks more likely to win this, but only had Caleb Folan's header on the hour to show for their fine efforts. That cancelling out Leon Court's glancing header from half an hour earlier. 1-1.
Nottingham Forest against Huddersfield, one of the key games in League One. Nigel Bidmead reporting.
And Nottingham Forest have won 2-1, an unlikely and cracking win for Forest, who came from a goal down and a man down to close the gap on the leaders. Lewis McGugan got the winner in stoppage time, a stunning strike from the right-hand side of the area. 10 minutes before the break, Phil Jevons scored from the penalty spot after Forest had a man sent off. Chris Cohen then equalised for Forest with a deflected shot, and Lewis McGugan with the winner. Forest 2, Town 1.
Forest second in the table. Ipswich have beaten the Championship leaders West Bromwich Albion by 2-0. Ipswich still unbeaten at Portman Road this season. Final whistle has gone at the Emirates. Arsenal playing West Ham. Arsenal comfortable winners, it appears. Mark Bishop.
Very much so, Ray. Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0. All talk of West Ham becoming the first side to beat Arsenal 3 times on their own turf for 21 years evaporated very quickly, in fact after just 2 minutes. Eduardo, a gorgeous chest down and volley, his 3rd goal in 2 matches. The writing was already on the wall, but the best was yet to come. The crowd of over 60,000 gasped in disbelief as Adebayor controlled Cliché's long-range pass raced into the penalty area, rounded green and scored from the most ridiculous of angles in off the post. West Ham briefly threatened, Ferdinand's effort cleared off the line, and former gunner Freddie Ljungberg tested Almunia, but only one side in this match. It's finished Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0.
The Premier League leaders have won, and so have Manchester United, beating Birmingham. Damien Johnson.
That's right, they've beaten them by 1-0. United have rediscovered the winning habit, but they couldn't quite put tenacious Birmingham to the sword. Carlos Tevez put United in front after brilliant interplay with Cristiano Ronaldo. The wingman playing as a central striker in Wayne Rooney's continued absence. Watch out for his celebration, by the way, tonight. Ji-Sung Park and Tevez both struck the woodwork, and the home side had a couple of half-decent penalty appeals waved away by referee Peter Walton. Birmingham showed real battling spirit. They refused to give in. McSheffrey squandered a first-half opening. Forsell went close twice in the second half as Old Trafford started to get a bit nervous towards the end. But United hang on 1-0.
Carlos Tevez being carried away injured, but seemingly happy enough. Full-time with the Reading Portsmouth match, David Garrido.
Reading 0, Portsmouth 2, the home side playing almost the entire game with 10 men. Ibrahima Sonko's clumsy challenge on Benjani earning him a straight red and giving the visitors a penalty. Nico Cranchar missed it, but Sol Campbell's tap-in after a Marcus Hanneman fumble came only moments later. John Utaka with pace to burn made it 2 in the second half. Nicky Shorey might as well have just stood still, really. Happy New Year, not for Steve Coppell and the home fans who left early. Their defensive problems continue into 2008, but it's now 7 away wins in the last 8 in the league for Pompey. Reading 0, Portsmouth 2.
That's an important victory for Pompey this afternoon. Let's hear about the Championship leaders West Bromwich Albion away at Ipswich. A defeat. Neil Henderson.
Yeah, it was 2-0 and the goals came in the last 15 minutes of the match. Not a great return to Portman Road for former Ipswich player Tony Mowbray, and really Ipswich had the bit between their teeth. They knew that they needed a victory here after 2 defeats on the trot, and of course wanted to push themselves up into the challenging positions for the playoffs. The first goal came after 75 minutes. David Wright with a glancing header at the far post, and then a free kick from Gavin Williams allowed the Ipswich skipper Jason DeVos to head in almost in a similar position to David Wright. A very good victory indeed for Ipswich. Ipswich 2, West Brom 0.
Top 3 in the Championship, all on 47 points. West Bromwich Albion, another of the 3, Watford. Andy Barwell.
Way for Watford to start the new year. Any hang-ups they have about playing at home are dispelled by their excellent form on the road. That continues after this comfortable victory at Southampton. Goals from Damien Francis, Marlon King and Darius Henderson makes it away win number 9 in the Championship for Adi Boothroyd's side. It's now 5 games without a victory for Southampton, who are starting to slide down the table. Full-time, Southampton 0, Watford 3.
Bristol City promoted from League One into the Championship, and one of the 3 teams top of the table as we go into 2008. Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, they beat Coventry 2-1, but they had to hang on towards the end as Leon Best hit a post from 6 yards when he hit space and time. The home side were by far the better team until Marvin Elliott added to Darren Byfield's early opener. That belatedly brought Coventry to life. Adi Bola made it 2-1, but Bristol City are extending a promising start into a genuine promotion challenge. That's 20 points now from the last 27.
Late goal in the Scunthorpe-Barnsley game. Natalie Jackson.
Well, it's Scunthorpe United 2, Barnsley 2, and the Barnsley captain, Brian Howard, has just broke the hearts of the Scunthorpe United fans here. They've not won at home since September. They've just been awarded a last-minute penalty. He turned it into the back of the net confidently. The Scunthorpe manager, Nigel Adkins, threw his cap to the floor, looked terribly disappointed, and Barnsley have salvaged a point here. It looks like they're going to salvage a point. Scunthorpe United 2, Barnsley 2.
Looks like 1 win in 15 now for Scunthorpe. All the results are just about in. Time for Tim Gungeon to confirm the first final scores of 2008.
Yes, here they are, Ray. Barclays Premier League, Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0. Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspur have an evening kick-off. Fulham 1, Chelsea 2. Manchester United 1, Birmingham City 0. Middlesbrough 0, Everton 2. Reading 0, Portsmouth 2. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Blackpool 3, Burnley 0. Bristol City 2, Coventry City 1. Cardiff City 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Charlton Athletic 1, Colchester United 2. Crystal Palace 1, Norwich City 1. Ipswich Town 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. Queen's Park Rangers 3, Leicester City 1. Scunthorpe United 2, Barnsley 2, that's the latest score. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Preston North End 1, Southampton 0, Watford 3, Stoke City 1, Hull City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Sheffield United 0. In League One, Brighton and Hove Albion 3, Bournemouth 2, Carlisle United 4, Hartlepool United 2, Crewe Alexandra 4, Tranmere Rovers 3, Leeds United 1, Oldham Athletic 3, Leyton Orient 0, Gillingham 0, Luton Town 1, Yeovil Town 0, Northampton Town 1, Millwall 1, Nottingham Forest 2, Huddersfield Town 1, Southend United 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Swindon Town 1, Swansea City 1, Walsall 1, Doncaster Rovers 1. In League 2, Accrington Stanley 0, Bradford City 2, Chester City 0, Grimsby Town 2, Chesterfield 2, Wrexham 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Brentford 2, Hereford United 0, Notts County 0, Lincoln City 1, Bury 1, Milton Keynes Dons 1, Mansfield Town 0, Peterborough United 2, Shrewsbury Town 1, Rochdale 3, Darlington 1, Rotherham United 3, Macclesfield Town 0, Stockport County 2, Morecambe 1, Wycombe Wanderers 0, Barnet 0. In the Blue Square Premier, Aldershot Town 2, Woking 1, Burton Albion 2, Stafford Rangers 1, Crawley Town 2, Oxford United 0, Droylsden 3, York City 4, Ebbsfleet United 4, Grays Athletic 1, Halifax Town 2, Farsley Celtic 0, Histon 1, Cambridge United 0, Kidderminster Harriers 1, Forest Green Rovers 0, Northwich Victoria 1, Altrincham 2, Stevenage Borough 2, Rushton and Diamonds 1, Torquay United 1, Exeter City 0, Weymouth 0, Salisbury 3. In the Welsh Premier, Carnarvon 0, Bangor City 4, Haverfordwest 3, Aberystwyth 1, Llanelli 4, Carmarthen 1, Neath 0, Port Talbot 2, Newcastle Druids 4, Airbus UK 1, Newtown 2, Carsous 2, Portmarnock 2, Llangefni Town 4, Rhyl 1, Connors Quay 0, the New Saints 2, Welshpool Town 0.
A late kick-off in the Championship, Scunthorpe United 2, Barnsley 2. We heard about that late penalty for Barnsley, which looks like it's going to put more disappointment for Scunthorpe. We'll hear the thoughts of Gavin Peacock, Mark Bright and Garth Crooks in the light of today's results, after we've looked at the updated league tables. And in the Barclays Premier League, familiar look to the top two and the new year. Arsenal remain 2 points clear of Manchester United, with Chelsea a further 4 points behind. Liverpool need to narrow the widening gap against Wigan tomorrow, when Manchester City also play Newcastle. Derby are now in desperate need of victory at Bolton. The Rams are 8 points adrift of Fulham, who lost their first match under Roy Hodgson today. The West London side were the only club in the bottom 5 to play today. Defeats for Birmingham, Middlesbrough and Reading. Let's take a look at the Coca-Cola Championship. West Bromwich Albion stay top despite defeat at Ipswich, but the Baggies now lead Watford and Bristol City only on goal difference. Watford got back to winning ways at Southampton, and Bristol City made it 6 victories in 8 games to leave the top 3 all on 47 points. Stoke, Charlton and Plymouth all lost ground on the top 3, while Ipswich's win puts them in the playoff spots. Colchester's first win in 7 games sees them move off the foot of the table. Preston now bottom of the pile after they lost to Sheffield Wednesday, who move up to 19th. Scunthorpe are in the relegation zone after they drew with Barnsley. Informed Queen's Park Rangers further eased the pressure on themselves by beating Leicester, a result that pushes the Foxes down to 21st. In Coca-Cola League One, Swansea's 6-match winning run was ended today, but a point at Swindon gives them a 3-point cushion over their nearest challengers. Nottingham Forest narrow the gap with a late winner to keep them ahead of Carlisle, who also won today. Doncaster drew with promotion rivals Walsall, while Leeds suffered their first home defeat in 17 matches. The bottom 2 meet tomorrow at Cheltenham. Bournemouth lost to a stoppage game to goal at Brighton, but Luton earned their first win in 4 games. Millwall slipped below Bristol Rovers, who enjoyed a rare away win. And in Coca-Cola League 2, MK Dons have extended their lead to 8 points. Paul Ince's side beat Mansfield, while second-place Hereford held by Notts County. Rotherham now level on points with Hereford after the 3-0 win over Macclesfield. Victories for Chesterfield and Peterborough pushed them above Darlington, who lost to Rochdale. Wrexham's 6th straight defeat means they're rooted to the bottom of League 2. Mansfield also lost. They're now 3 points from safety. Lincoln ended a run of 3 straight defeats with a draw against Bury. They edged closer to Dagenham and Redbridge, who lost at Brentford. Here's the situation in the Blue Square Premier League. Aldershot remained 4 points clear at the top. Both they and Torquay won today. Stevenage stay third after a late winner against Rushden and Diamonds. Burton's win over Stafford sees them move above Cambridge United, who lost to Histon. At the bottom, Droylsden lost to York 3-1 with 88 minutes gone today, but fought back to snatch all 3 points to ensure Droylsden stay bottom of the table. Altrincham beat Northwich to edge closer to Farsley Celtic, who lost at Halifax. With managers and players emerging from their dressing rooms, lots of post-match reaction on the way after this summary of the top football stories of the day. Eduardo and Adebayor provide the ammunition for the Gunners as they stay top of the table and avenge their only defeat at the Emirates, and that was against West Ham. The New Year's honours at Old Trafford go to Manchester United. Carlos Tevez scoring the only goal to extend Sir Alex Ferguson's 66th birthday celebrations. New manager, same old problem for Fulham. Roy Hodgson's welcome party is spoiled as the home side squander a lead once again to let Chelsea secure victory in the West London derby. Michael Ballack scores the winner. 10 men of Reading can't survive the 4th-minute dismissal of Brahima Sonko. Sol Campbell is gifted his first goal in a year to put Pompey on course for victory. And it's a case of the river slide for Middlesbrough. Their poor home form continues as Andy Johnson scores one and makes the other one for Everton. Highlights of all today's Barclays Premier League games in tonight's Match of the Day. 10:10 start time, Match of the Day on BBC 2 tonight. And let's go back to Old Trafford. Steve Wilson was there to watch Manchester United beat Birmingham today. What's your opinion of the Manchester United performance, Steve?
Sort of horses for courses, really, Ray. There was no Rooney, there was no Giggs in the starting lineup. Park making his first start of the season. Nani started, so you can see it's not Manchester United at their absolute peak, and they didn't play like that either. Tevez scored the only goal. He also hit the post twice, but the first half was really quite dull. Birmingham happy to contain and doing it reasonably well until, Ray, about the 65-70 minute mark, when suddenly they brought on Derrida and Forsell and had a right go at Manchester United. And I can tell you that for the last 20 minutes of the game there were 1 or 2 nervous moments for the home side here, thinking that they might throw away a couple of the points which seemed to be in the bag for them very, very comfortably in that first hour. For about 10 minutes United played really well, but they'll be happy to have taken the points today.
We saw Carlos Tevez being carried away. He had quite a smile on his face. Any news on that injury?
Yes, he did. No, nobody's emerged as yet from the Manchester United dressing room. He was caught by Ridgewell, and he took a little knock to that left foot, and he limped about for a little while and then was taken off. As you say, Ray, he had quite a big smile on his face, and to be honest with you, I think that the chances are that he will be fine, if not for the FA Cup tie next week at Aston Villa, when, you know, Sir Alex might want to rotate things a little bit, maybe give Sahara a start, who knows. You're looking at another week after that for United's next Premier League game, and but we'll keep you up to date with that just as soon as we hear news from the dressing room. I think, though the points go to United, credit Birmingham. They've got a horrible start, absolutely dreadful start to 2008. Manchester United, then they have Chelsea, then they have Arsenal, once they've got Huddersfield out of the way in the FA Cup. So 3 huge games, and they've shown enough today, I think, to show that they will not be a pushover for Arsenal and Chelsea. They've already drawn at Anfield this season, and they came close at the end to nicking a point here.
Thanks, Steve. And who knows who Sir Alex Ferguson might sign in the days to come. So Manchester United win, so did league leaders Arsenal, and here's their manager Arsene Wenger.
Arsene, well, you certainly got off to the perfect start to the new year.
Well, yes, we did the job early, and after we controlled the game.
And in the first half, West Ham created some dangerous situations, especially on set pieces. But the second half, it was just control of the game from our part, and West Ham was never dangerous. So overall, I feel it's a deserved victory against a team who defended very well.
Eduardo, that's 5 goals in his last 3 starts now. What sort of a player, what does he give you apart from the goals?
Well, you have seen he's a great finisher. When he's in the box, you give him the ball. He finishes naturally. You think it's easy what he's doing, but you know that the kind of control and the finish just behind it is just class.
Is he at the moment, do you think, the best natural finisher in the Premier League on current form?
Natural, yes. He's a natural finisher, as you say. He's, I said already, he's a bit Robbie Fowler type, you know, quick control, short back lift, coach the keeper on the back foot, on the bad foot, and therefore he's a natural finisher.
And I think the only other Arsenal player who could have scored the second goal in my memory would have been Kanu. There was very much the Kanu about Adebayor's finish.
Yeah, Kanu is the idol of Adebayor, and he would be proud of that goal as well, yes.
Well, week after week we keep talking about the quality of Arsenal's football, and Adebayor's goal was sensational.
It was, because you thought it was an impossible angle for him to score the goal, and somehow it works his way back in the back of the net. De Silva is the boy who's on fire at the moment. Scored 2 against Everton, scored another cracking goal today, although I'm sure Alan Kimpshire will not be happy with his defender.
What's your view of Arsenal's performance? And they'll lose players to the African Cup of Nations, but whoever Mr Wenger seems to bring in seems to be up to the job.
Well, he brought in Eduardo in the close season, you know, Henry left, Adebayor's come to the fore, you know, 12 goals. Eduardo was sensational. It's just the way they keep possession. But, you know, Eboué and Touré are really big players for them, Ray, and they're going to miss them because Senderos doesn't seem, I don't know if he can stay fit or his form doesn't seem as good as Touré's.
They will miss them, but the good thing about this Arsenal team is they're very much a team. You see them in the huddle together. So whoever's coming in, Senderos, whoever, they're coming into a supremely confident team with a real spirit and bond.
The only person that doesn't seem a part of that team at the moment is Lehmann. He seems to be definitely the odd one out, and is quite happy to do so. So I'll be very surprised if he's still there come February.
What's your view of Manchester United's performance today?
Well, they had a lot of possession. They had more cutting edge than Birmingham, but Birmingham put up a real good fight, a real good show. They were determined. They're playing, I think, in the image of the character of their manager. You know, a lot of determination, and mixed with some ability as well. I just think they needed that little bit more cutting edge. I think Garth and Brighty were making the point there. They'd like them to see and play with 2 up front from the start. But then sometimes, if you play with 2 up front from the start, you get hammered and you get cut apart by United early on.
Not so much from the start, but in the 10 or 15 minutes when he threw on Mikel Forssell, you're thinking, leave Cameron Jerome up there as well, because they both like to run with the ball. It's a bit more of a force. But there's so many positives for Birmingham, but I think, as Steve Wilson's just said, they've got some tough games coming up.
Post-match reaction now from the lunchtime game. Chelsea winning away at Fulham.
First, I'm very pleased that we took 12 points in the Christmas period. It was not easy because we had a short squad and we need to use everybody. So this is time first to say that I'm very proud of these players. They gave everything that we can. I think always when we play 1 o'clock, like we play against Aston Villa, we are not coming to the first half. First half was not good. Even we create 2 good chances, 1 against 1 and the goalkeeper to make 1-0 or 1-1. But we didn't play good. It's not the football that I like. But second half, we show a lot of character and more of this good football. We dominate the game, score 2 goals. I think we could score more. So it was nice for us today.
Is it right place, right time for you? So many key players, John Terry, Frank Lampard injured. You weren't able to get in the side. Now you're back and you're one of the key player, most experienced player. Has that come just at the right time for you, and also looking ahead to the 2008 tournament for Germany?
Yeah, I'm happy to be back also in this period. I think it's important because we have a lot of players injured, and so for every player it's more important to be playing now, also for me. But I'm part of all of the team, so I try to be my best, to play my best, and yeah, last 3 games was okay.
As people can probably see in my eyes at the moment, it's been a very tiring time, but I'm quite looking forward to the fact that we now have at least 10 days or 11 days before we play West Ham, and there will be a lot of discussions in that time, A, about what we need to do on the training field, how we can improve things by working with the players, and B, of course, we can't rule out the fact that if the right players are available for transfer, who will help us not only in the short term but the long term, then I know we're going to be interested, because the chairman, Mr. Al Fayed, he doesn't want the team relegated, and he's prepared to back us if we can come up with the right names.
We'll talk about Fulham in a moment. What was your opinion of Chelsea's performance today? They do need Ballack around at the moment, with Lampard, Terry, Drogba all out, and missing players to the African Cup of Nations.
They do. They need him to be a leader as well, which he is, and he was. I mean, captain of Germany, record is superb. He's an undoubted talent, and they need him to lead, because I'll be very surprised that if Chelsea come out of the next month unscathed by the players that they're going to lose in the next month as well.
Yeah, do you hope or expect Chelsea to figure in the title race?
I don't. I think it's going to be telling this next month, and I think at the end of it you'll see it being a two-horse race.
Observations on Fulham with Roy Hodgson in charge today?
I liked how they started the game. They played really good football. Keeper was throwing it out. They were passing it along the back and into midfield. Whereas I think under Laurie it was a little bit more direct. You know, they got the lead. You know, the penalty and through Danny Murphy. Then the second half, it was a totally different Chelsea. I just thought in the first half Chelsea didn't perform really well, and Fulham played some good football. He's going to need time, obviously, Hodgson, and obviously the next month he can bring players in, but I think he's going to need to sell players and move things around. But for him to impose his theories and what he wants things to happen there is going to take a little bit of time. But he's got half a season, which is important.
What style of football should Fulham go for then to try and scrap to stay up?
A winning style. I know what you mean, Ray, but
do they try and just sort of fight and scrap points, or do they try and play open, attractive football?
That's a minimum requirement. I mean, at Craven Cottage, that's got to be his fortress. I think Craven Cottage could save them the results at home.
And maybe if you can buy someone.
And if you can buy someone, and through this window, it can change it dramatically. But in terms of the style of play, the style they played today, and if you have post-Sanchez, is with more freedom, more expression. Dempsey's made the point. Murphy looks the player he did 2-3 years ago. And who knows? Simon Davis, I thought, was outstanding today. Again, he's starting to look a player as well. So confidence is starting to come back. With a bit more belief, who knows?
Everton, 5th in the table. Let's hear from their manager, David Moyes.
David, it felt like it was a really professional away performance. Was that how you saw it?
It certainly was in the end. I mean, we had some good bits of fortune at the right moment, but I have to praise the players. You know, we had a defeat the other day there, which we're disappointed with. We've come up here with a lot of injured players. And the boys have put on a great show with no midfield players available hardly today, so it was a great 3 points.
Of course, the two guys that you bring in today both end up with a goal as well. It's a real bonus for you, isn't it?
It is, and that's what the squad at Everton have been doing, I've got to say. You know, that's why there's such a good group of players, and we keep talking about it. But what's really important is that they're really good on the pitch.
Of course, that was mentioned before the game, that you're bringing in 3 players who are international players when those who are injured are out, and that says a lot about the way you've developed.
It is, and you know, we have others. You know, we've got a lot of boys. We're trying to get football as much as we can, and if injuries are out, then we have to give them the chance. And I've got to say, those boys have come in and done a great job today.
Did you always feel the first goal would be the crucial one today?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like that. A lot of the Premier League games are. I thought we did play better in the second half, albeit, you know, I think probably the turning point in the game was, you know, the one Tunkai comes off the line, Joe Lescott has a great block, and Tim Howard has a great save. And I think probably from then on we went on and played better, and our football was more expansive, and scored a couple of goals.
There's a sort of pack of clubs just below that top 4, of which you're one, and I guess you're proving that you're there on merit and you deserve to be there.
We're there in merit, there's no doubt about that. What we need to try and do is stay there, that's the hardest thing. But the players we've got, the football club we're at, we should all be thinking that we should be amongst that top group.
Everton 2 defeats in 17, and those defeats were against Arsenal and Manchester United.
Yeah, and they look very impressive when they get in the last third, although for a large portion of this game, they lack cutting edge in that last third. Suddenly, Yakubu and Johnson link up. Johnson spins his man, puts it in the back of the net. Suddenly, all the space opens up. I thought they were well worthy of the points today, by the way.
What's impressive for me is that, you know, they're a point behind Liverpool just over the halfway stage in the season, and you're thinking that this is the season Liverpool are really going to push for the Premier League. And I think they're performing absolutely superbly. Everton. He's getting the best out of the team. As we said before with the African Cup of Nations, Pinar's going, Yakubu's going, and Yobu. They're all first-team players, big players for the team. Andy Johnson, he played a 4-4-2 today, which he hasn't done in recent weeks. I think maybe in the preparation for Yakubu going, getting Johnson back in, and he scored a goal.
It shows the character of the team as well, you know, that they needed a win, a result today after the performance the
It'd be
other
very
day.
telling, Gray. If Everton were to finish above Liverpool, it would bode very badly for Benitez. I know it's only symbolic in many ways. Well, it's more than that because of the Champions League. But it's not good in Merseyside for Benitez.
Absolutely. It happened a few years ago. Who knows whether it'll happen again. What do you make of Middlesbrough? So they had a great start to December. Then they've sort of fallen away a bit.
Yeah, it looked like things were turning around, and you can't say that, you know, just on this result today that, you know, it's going to go bad again for them. I think the fact with Middlesbrough, you'll see them in that sort of pack, the relegation pack, if you like, and they'll probably just stay out of it, just do enough.
He needs a striker. He needs someone to score goals. I think
Downey's
got the most goals with 4, and if the statistics say that they've won 3 of the last 6, which you're thinking, well, not too bad.
Yeah, Mido injured, Ali Adair injured.
Yeah.
But he needs to get people fit at the right time.
Absolutely.
Well, this is a big month for him.
A quick reminder now, alongside this weekend's FA Cup ties, we'll be serving up doubles and trebles.
Every show needs a baddie, a goodie,
Martin Adams has got to be a danger this week.
and an audience on the edge of their seat. This is their stage. The World Dance Championship starts next Saturday at 1 on BBC One.
And alongside the darts, details of programme plans for the third round of the FA Cup. Football Focus previews all the games at 12:10, BBC One. Score charts the progress of the matches from 2:30. Final score at 4:30. Aston Villa versus Manchester United will be live. Coverage begins just after 5 o'clock. All the action on Match of the Day at 11:15. All the goals, all the saves, all the major incidents from the afternoon overall. And on Sunday, Burnley versus Arsenal, BBC One 10:02, and the Stoke-Newcastle match at 5:45, BBC One. Back to today's Barclays Premier League games. Manchester United beat Birmingham by 1-0. Let's get back to Old Trafford to hear from the Birmingham manager, Alex McLeish.
It's a disciplined performance. We a wee bit of luck. We rode the storm at the start of the second half, and we ended up. I really had a good feeling that we were going to nick something.
What was the approach going into the game?
We went with 2 strikers, but we knew that one of the strikers would have to work back the way and play in the hole when we didn't have the ball. And by and large, I thought that the discipline of the 2 strikers was very good in that respect. We had a really good start to the game. In the first half, we had, I think, 4 pots at Man United's goal and in good positions as well, and we never hit target.
You could sense the crowd were getting a little bit nervous, I think, in the second half. Did you feel an equaliser was on the cards?
That's what I'm saying. I thought we were going to snatch something, because United's fans were whistling for the full-time whistle at the end, and that was music to my ears, but unfortunately we never got anything.
What have you learned about your players in the first 6 weeks in charge?
I've learned that there's a great spirit, and I'm hoping that spirit will carry us through to safety in the Premier League. I'm hoping that we can get clear of the pack, but we know that everybody's playing with a great spirit just now and getting results, you know, left, right and centre. If I can, you know, add 2 or 3 bodies, as I said, to help the players in there, then they know that it's for the benefit of the club. It's not a threat to them, it's a challenge for them as well.
Do you have live targets? Do you expect to strengthen in the window?
Yeah, I do. I expect to strengthen, yes, and you know, I've identified 2 or 3 players, whether we can get them or not, and I'm sure the board will back me in that.
He clearly means business. 3 points from the relegation places. Determined there about Alex McLeish. I've got targets, I want to go and get them, because he knows what's needed.
Yeah. Well, they play like that at the moment. They play like a determined side. It was interesting you talked about the second striker. For me, if he played that second striker, he was way too deep. But that sometimes, I think...
Working back.
Working back. But I think Gavin made the point that you're away at Old Trafford. You go and you're too adventurous, you get hurt. And because they weren't too adventurous, they were still in the game right until the death, and they could have nicked something.
You're confident about Birmingham's chances?
I am. I mean, you look at him speak there, and I think he's come in there, he's given them a bit of structure. I think he's gets about players as well and lifts them individually, and he demands character, and he's getting performances off the back of it.
Definitely.
The sudden death of Motherwell captain Phil O'Donnell on Saturday was due to heart failure, a post-mortem has revealed. The 35-year-old collapsed and died during the match against Dundee United. A Fir Parker's funeral will take place on Friday. And very sad news from football over the last couple of days. Back to today's games. Let's hear from the Portsmouth assistant manager Tony Adams. His team won at Reading today.
Tony, congratulations. At the moment, Portsmouth must prefer playing away from home than at home.
Yeah, it really suits us at the moment, the system that we're playing, and we seem to be picking up a lot of results on the road and struggling a little bit at home. But then again, we have played some top teams at home, and teams are making it very difficult for us at Fratton Park at the moment. And something we have to look at.
It looked as though in the opening 10 minutes, Tony, that Reading were pressing the self-destruct button. Firstly, they have a man sent off, give you a penalty, and then the goalkeeper makes an error, and you've got the lead inside 7 minutes.
Yeah, I've always I got sent off like that some years ago now at Luton. I've always very unjust kind of thing to be sent off for. You know, it's bad enough giving a pen away, but it changes games, doesn't it? And you're playing 11v10, and then the goalkeepers, let one slip for us, and we finished it. But it does become, them games do become very hard mentally, concentration levels, because you have got a lot of ball. It's a different game. It's like a lot of the time it's like a practice match, and you can lose concentration and concede. And there's many occasions where 10 has actually beat 11. So it was important for us to keep our concentration and finish them off, which we did superbly well.
First win in 5 for Pompey, 7th in the table.
I'm just checking the result there, Ray, because he looked a bit down, didn't he, Tony? Yeah, they did win, actually. They did win, and I think why they win more away from home as well is because they got such speed and power, and they hit you really quickly on the break, and Utaka's goal was a prime example of that.
I'd like to talk to you about the Aston Villa-Tottenham game. Dimitar Berbatov of Spurs is in the starting lineup. Here he is just before the game. But he says he wants to go to a club that matches his ambition as a Tottenham fan. What do you say to that?
Well, seeing him in the starting lineup suggests to me that he and Ramos must have had words, and Berbatov is happy to stay. But if I was Ramos, I'd ask him very clearly, if he wants to stay at Tottenham, tell his agent to shut up, because it's destabilising other players in the team. If he wants to go, let me know, and I'll sort it out for him. That's, of course, if the top 3 or 4 clubs want him.
I wonder what his relationship with the other Tottenham players is going to be at the moment.
Well, I think this is one of the reasons why I think it needs to be addressed. As I say, he's playing at the moment, he looks reasonably comfortable, he's scoring goals. Tottenham has been there long before he arrived, it'll be there long after he's gone. No one's bigger than the club. If you want to stay, great. If you don't, off you go.
Wonder if he'll stay at the club, Gavin.
I think he'll go. I think he's a quality player, and any of the top sides will want him.
Think he'll go, stay?
By the looks of his agent, I think that it's all been done.
Nearly time for us to go, but with a reminder that for full details on all today's football news, the results, tables, goal scorers, match reports and post-match reaction, and for sports news across the board, you can go to the BBC Sport website, which is constantly being updated. Today's score service continues now via the red button. All the results and the latest league tables will cycle on the screen. We'll continue to hear from players and managers as they emerge from their dressing rooms. This is where we say goodbye to BBC Two viewers. Once again, Happy New Year. And sport-wise, a lot to look forward to in the year to come. Bye for now.